Analysis of functions, analyzing behavior, movement, increasing, decreasing, concavity, speeding up, slowing down, etc., etc., etc. Those are the big 3 ideas. Like, those are the things that are on the exam. However, you might want a little more topics, or it broken down a little bit better than that, so check these out. Ready? Check these out.
Oh no.
How similar does this line up to what we did this year? Unit 1, limits and continuity. I think that's where we started, right? Unit 2, differentiation, the basics. Unit 3, differentiation, let's make it a bit harder, right? Implicit differentiation, derivatives of inverses, f of g of x, chain rule u prime. Unit 4, let's apply stuff. Related rates, motion, optimization, maxes, mins. Unit 5, analytical approach. That's all the graphs, the going up, the going down, first derivative test, second derivative test, relative maxes, relative mins. Unit 6, let's take integrals. Unit 7, let's do differential equations. P.S. We split this up because there was easier, harder integrals. Unit 8, let's apply stuff. Unit 9 is not U. Unit 10, not U. So this is areas and volumes. This is integration as net change, etc.
Wait, which is the one with like the concave up and down?
That's this guy right here, analytical applications.
Oh no.
Function analysis.
It's the fattest joke. Oh, the second fattest joke.
But like this could be helpful to you guys, right? At least somewhat helpful if you're curious. For BC, it's going to be a little bit more helpful for them to know what AB versus what BC, etc. But that's in there. And then it goes a little bit more in depth as far as where the calculator is used, where the calculator isn't used. And then, guys, it literally goes through like all of these topics, what it tells teachers about what to think and what to see and what to do. Okay, I'm going to get out of that for right now. And let's go to some other things that I posted. That was just to give you an idea. Some of you were interested in that sort of stuff. You might want to look deeper in there. However, what are the 3 things that I have posted for you as far as for tomorrow and or... If you notice, all of these deadlines of the 3 things I posted are not until, well, this one's not until the day after the actual AP. Lord. So this is like a long-standing, hey, it's there. I'll show you that in a second. But these 2 aren't due until the Friday after spring break. Okay? So am I expecting anyone to finish all of this tonight? No. No, 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 no. But I'm trying to, Lucas Fletcher says, yes, go for it. But everybody else... I'm trying to give you options. Take a deep breath and let it out. Your brains work differently. I know that, and you should know that by now. Your brains work differently. Some of you are like, give me the problems. What did I give you? A whole full-length AP exam. A whole full-length AP exam. To let you see it's going to be totally mixed up. You open it, the first question might be an integral. I looked at 4 different practice tests yesterday. To choose the one that I'm going to do for your mock AP tomorrow. It's going to be a different one for the retake. It's not the same one. One of them started with, this one starts with an integral, right? I think this one starts with an integral. Another one I looked at started with a derivative. Another one started with a limit. Like, it literally is mixed. It's just mixed up. But we're going to talk about the different portions of the exam, and you get to have one. Now, guys, I'm giving you 1 document. How many documents are attached here? 3. So what is this? One of them says, hey, here's a real quick A, B, B, C, D, 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 E. Just kidding, there are no E's anymore. It's just A through D, so you have a 25% chance of getting it right. If you don't narrow it down at all, hopefully you narrow it down some. Used to be only a 20% chance of getting it right, if you guessed. And you would get points off if you guessed wrong. But that's not anymore, not anymore, not anymore. But there's another document. What's this guy? This guy says, I am from the College Board, and I am talking about what you just took in all of those problems in depth. What? So wait, if we were to scroll and say, so question number 1, actually this is the full one, hold on, let's go down. If you go past the exam, there's an A, there's a B, there's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, hold on, we'll talk about it, but after that, we're almost there. The exam is over. And there are a lot more pages. Check it. Check it. Doesn't this say, hey, so question 1. You were supposed to think of the fundamental theorem of calculus. You were supposed to, oh hey, if you thought it was A, you probably made this mistake. If you thought it was B, you probably made this mistake. Oh, just kidding, it's the right one, I didn't read it. If you chose C, this is probably your mistake. If you chose D, some of you, this could help if you're one of those who wants to do like a fine-tooth comb, go over what you understand, what you don't understand. This gives you tons of detail, right? Now, some of you are like, I'm not ready for that. Okay, cool. Guess what? I also posted something for you. Ready? There's something else called AP Live Review videos. Let me pull up real fast 2 different links. One of them is to a shared Google Drive that College Board teachers put out last year, and one of them is to a YouTube playlist. Do you see that all of these are under an hour, first of all? They put on a timer, they made sure they were all under an hour. They're not just randomly shooting the breeze, even though they really like their math jokes. But besides that, they are excellent AP teachers chosen by the College Board. They have graded exams. They have sat on committees. They are in live. They were in, but I think they still are now. Verge and Mark. They are in, and who was the other one? There's one other one. He kind of like talks like everything's real chill. Anyway, I forget his name. Verge is the lady with the glasses. Mark is. No, you wouldn't have seen them on CalcAB. No. They're like AP teachers. But anyway, guys, what they've had. Pause. Their first. I know. I'm almost there. Their first live review session was not limits, but why wasn't it limits? Because that's not an easy topic for a lot of kids. They started easier and went harder, not like all the way, but they started with basic derivatives because that's what most kids remember from calculus. It's like, oh yeah, the power rule. Or they know that there's a u prime. I mean, it might have been 5 years since they took it, but at least they know kind of like derivative rules. Yeah, it was a thing. They started with like one of the most basic things. Then they went to applying the derivative. Then they backtracked to limits and continuity. Why would they wait and do derivatives and then limits? Oh, L'Hopital's uses derivatives. Maybe that's why they waited. Then they did FTC, which is integration, and then they went through all the different big theorems, and then they went through applying integrals, part 1, part 2. Remember, that could be word problems, that could be motion, that could be area, volume, that could be differential equations. And then the very last one is just like, let's talk AP stuff. Now, they're using AP questions all along. They are specific AP teachers, and this was put out by College Board, and it's an excellent resource. Like, teachers were waiting decades for this, like at all the different conferences I went to. Because not every school can have excellent teachers. Not every school can afford to give their kids the curriculum or the methods or the time, or their kids aren't able to get to school to actually get the instruction. Before Zoom, it was a huge deal. This is all trying to make everything more accessible, and we can definitely use it as an excellent resource. Why am I saying this? You could go to one area that you're weak on, or you could just kind of pick from the percentages of what's most on the exam, pick the top 2 or the top 3 that you want to listen to, you want to watch. You don't even have to like do it on your own. You have teachers guiding you through. And what they're guiding you through for each of those different videos is they had different activities that you don't have to print out, but they had little like things, and these are the problems they worked through. Maybe not all of them, but they worked through some of them, and they talked them out, talked through the content as excellent teachers, the excellent teachers that they are. So anyway, what is that assignment? By the Friday we get back, I will want you guys to have, if you read this guy, fully attempted, graded, and corrected practice exam number 1. Some of you might start that today. Some of you might work on it over spring break. Some of you might not work on it till we get back. That's your choice, right? The videos, that's this. Yeah, and I gave you the copy, the printout. So that is what you hold in your hands. That is practice exam number 1. Okay? The AP Live Review videos. The AP Live Review videos. I'm probably actually going to make this due this Sunday night after we get back. I'll probably make this due actually the 24th, 11:59. Because there are a lot of videos, but I do want you guys to work your way through. And the way that you're going to show me that you worked your way through is that you're going to take notes on all 8. So like video 1 or review session 1, take some notes. Review session 2, take some notes. It could be printing out and working on the problems. It could be doing it in your homework spiral. I don't care. But that will be your proof. Any questions about the 3 things that I posted? Oh, sorry. There was one more. I honestly don't think... I'm just giving you what I can so that you have opportunities over spring break if you're going to make it an AP study session time. Not the whole break, but part of it. The 3rd thing that I posted is not due until the day after the AP. it gives you, can I show this real fast? It gives you a few different places to find more bonus practice exams. Everything from all the FRQs that have actually been given over the past like 30 years to the ones that were given in the first administration. There were 2 different administrations because of COVID still. The first administration last year, the actual FRQs that were given, and a teacher's like way of working through what those answers were. 2, a Google Drive that not only gives you, I know they look old, I know they do, but College Board is very careful about what they release and what they don't, because teachers need problems that kids can't just Google, or like full exams that kids can't just find and like memorize A, B, B, C, D, 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 D. I'm making up those letters, by the way. Really, I have no idea if they go to any test anywhere. But these ones are ones that are fully released. Teachers can do YouTube videos on them. They can like post full answer keys. So, and the math is still good in them. The reason I've chosen these is because I have, for these practice exams, like teachers that have written out all of the work to all of the problems, which I think is probably even better for some of you than like that full analysis document that gets really overwhelming to some extent. But this just shows how to do it right. It doesn't show all that extra stuff that the College Board document showed. Okay, but that's optional, and these are just for bonus if you are going to be doing extra practice either over spring break or in the weeks leading up to the AP, and this is not due until the day after the AP, so that no one is stressing uploading anything like the day before or the day of or the 2 days before. Okay, any questions about what I've made available? So could you just listen to some videos? Yeah. Could you look and see what percentages are the highest of topics and just like pick 1 or 2? Sure. Could you practice with some problems? Sure. What is something that you probably should definitely be looking at least a little bit? Because you're not going to be using those on the mock AP. But let's talk now about the grading, because some of you are like, there is so much preparation that needs to be done, and I agree, but for the actual AP, so hold on. What is tomorrow? What is it for? Okay, so hold on. Ready? Tomorrow is, what word am I writing? Could I have had you take an AP at the beginning of this year?
Absolutely.
I guess. Go Mr. Wayne, right? But you would have opened that, and you wouldn't have known how to do one problem, right? Think about how much you've learned. You would have seen DDX, no clue. You would have seen limit. Maybe a few honors kids from last year might have recognized the limit to infinity. Most of you, no clue. You would have seen tangent line, no clue. Unless you remembered something awkward about a quadratic last year, those wouldn't have been the problems on the test. You would have seen an integral, no clue. You would have seen maxes and mins and no clue, no clue, no clue, right? Why am I just now doing a baseline? Because we just finished the content. So this is our baseline of, oh, I've seen this before. Like in English AP, I've learned English. Maybe. A baseline could be at the beginning of the year, you're working all year. For us, it's like, no, you've seen the content, and we're going to have 2-3 weeks after we get back from spring break to be preparing. Okay, this is a baseline. Now, some of you are going to freak out because you're like, how are you making our final exam the baseline? Because what's the idea of a baseline? It's the beginning, and then we get better, right? So, question. If you get, ready? Hold on, let me do my job. Let me do my job. Let me do my job. You ready? Let me get on here so that Jacqueline can be seeing this if she's listening to the video. Okay, hold on. Let me do my job. If I was to talk about the grading on the actual AP and what I'm using for the mock AP, all right? You could get a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, or a 5. Now, for a normal final exam, if you get one question out of 108 right, what's your score? If you get 0 out of 108, like if you didn't show me any work on the whole exam, I'm not giving you points. But if you at least try the exam, you're going to get at least 1 right, hopefully. I have to be honest. Hopefully. I don't think I've anyone actually get a 0. I've had people get very close to the 0, but
How about if you get a 0, you give us 100?
if everyone tries the final, ready? But I'm just trying to give you something. If everyone tries the final, okay? If you get 1 out of 108, isn't that like a, what, 0.2%? Like you get a 2% in your final exam? Now, ready? That's not how I'm grading. Okay? If you get a 1, that's going to be somewhere between a 60 and a 69%.
You get 1 right?
If you, I'll show you what I'm talking about. 70 to 79, 80 to 89, 90 to 99. Okay. Let me show you what I showed some of your classmates yesterday. Can you guys look at what you have in front of you? Now, some of you are reading some of the different like timelines, etc. This first little page right here is for the multiple choice packet, like the whole multiple choice section. There's another one a little bit later for the whole FRQ section. You know the difference between, because the free response, number 1, has big boxes and you're writing in like parts A and B and C. And number 2, the FRQs have numbers, the multiple choice have letters on the pages. Here's that other page, guys, that you were looking for as far as timing. But if you were to look at this, there end up being, I know it's going to look like 70 something, but really it's from 1 to 30 and it's from 76 to 87, maybe 1 to 28 and then 76 to 87. The numbers jump. You can also look at your grading sheet. Do you guys see how it goes 1 through 30, 76, to 90, sorry. Okay? There are a total of multiple choice questions, if you count up those boxes. There are a total of 45 possible. You guys can double check. There's a total of 45 multiple choice. And there's a total of 6 FRQs. Okay? Multiple choice. 30 of these are non-calculator. Believe me, the non-calculator ones are better. 15 are calculator. Of these, 2 of them are calculator.
Bro.
You don't want the calculator ones. They're harder. This is actually easier. Okay. Now check it. Each of these 6 FRQs have 9 different possible points that could be gotten in the A's and B's and C's and D's all added up. That's 54 free response points possible. Multiple choice. They want these to be evenly weighted, but they don't want to take more time. Anyways, the whole thing. So they make them all 1.2 points each. That means there are 54 points for multiple choice. So the total score possible, 100%, which every now and then a few people get. To be honest, it's probably an accident to some degree. I mean, they know their calculus, but a perfect score is 108. Now, let me show you how many you need to get right to get in these categories. Is that okay? Okay. For a 1, now, if you don't try the exam, I'm not giving you a 60%, but as long as you try it, you get at least a 60. 0 to... As long as you try the exam. Technically, it's worth the 0. 0 to 27. And you guys, right now, in your calculator, do a 27 out of 108. That would be in the 1 category. Someone get me really quick. What's 27 divided by 108? Ask Siri, you type it in. Oh, what? 25%. Okay, so if you have a 0 between your 0 and 25%, they're like, okay, that's a 1. Now, for me, I've had kids score this on the final AP, not even the mock AP. I've had quite a few in the mock. But then even a few in the final. And I've had those very same kids. Now, it depends on their trajectory. It depends on whether they're a junior or senior. It depends on a lot of different things. But I've had seniors go straight to college and not like just community, even though community calc classes are still legit. But go to 4 years and tutor their class.
That's great.
This is a standardized test. It works for some people. It doesn't work for others. WebAssign didn't make you match all year. You got to leave it messy. That's going to be a weakness for some of us.
Oh, no.
But pause. 0 to 27, okay? This next category could be something like 28 to, let me help. This one's going to be like 70 to 108.
Wait, oh.
Hold on. I have to work my way backwards, else I don't get it very well. Divide 70 by 108. What percentage is that? Like a 68? Someone double check. 65? Wait. So you only need a 65 to get a 5? Oh, this is a hard test, right?
Facts.
But they're giving you a 5 if you can get 65% right. Are you going for perfection? No. You're just going to get as many right as you can.
Wait,
Now, this could be something like 69 to like 54.
Shameless.
This one could be maybe like 53 to depends on the year as to which categories are bigger. Let's go maybe to like 40. But no, it's different every year. It depends on the exam. It depends on how the questions were tested. They've been tested over like the past decade. The ones that were actually chosen for this exam are somewhat randomized. They have all this statistical data. It's crazy, the machine of College Board. But right now, check it. Is this a normal final exam if you can get one right and you get a 60%?
No, not at all.
Okay, it's not a normal final exam. So I am like crazy weighting things. And just by bringing in some canned food, what did you all earn for yourselves?
Another try.
Another try for your grade. So if this like takes your grade, you have another try to keep working, and we'll be working in class all the days when we get back. Okay? Quick heads up for when we get back, just for you guys to know, because I think at this point we know what's going on as far as this week. We do have this day off. It's Easter Monday when we get back.
Nice.
And then I think it's going to be A. So I don't actually see you guys until Wednesday. I think it's AB. Which means also 0 period will be that first day we're back as well. This will be the week we get back.
Spiritual emphasis week is
I don't know, it's in here somewhere. Is it this week? It might be this week.
It's, yeah.
Is it this week? The week we get back?
It's the end of the, what's it called?
Of April.
Miss D, can I run to the restroom?
So it might be the next week then.
Yeah, it's the next week.
Okay. So spiritual emphasis is the next week. But anyway, all that to say, just come tomorrow and do your best. Does that make sense? Do we have some work to do? Yes. Are we going to do it? Yes. But just think of how can you put yourself in the best place tomorrow to get a baseline. Okay? Oh, there's one more thing I didn't post in your Google Classroom. But I'll get it there. If not today, then during the mock AP tomorrow. I have forever and ever, for you guys, just forever studying. Because before the actual AP, not for tomorrow, but before the actual AP, we will be having a forever final. But that should make sense because you need to have it memorized by the actual AP. So just thinking about spring break and what you could be doing, could you take forever cards easily in your stuff to Las Vegas for a softball tournament? Yes, so easily. Just saying. Not saying you had to, but I was saying you could. Could you easily pack it to Cabo? Yes. Forever cards, you could. Tons of other stuff? Maybe not. But forever cards, yes. We need to get those memorized. Do you have Google Slides you can always pull up on your phone? Okay, so along those lines, let's take a break and let's stand up and stretch. Forevers and evers. Get up. Go around.
We should have seen this coming.
Yeah, you should have seen this coming. You totally should have seen this coming. We're gonna stand and stretch anyway. Give somebody a high five. See how some pages have A's at the top, right? Okay. All the ones that have A's at the top, that would be the first section of the test that you would take. It's non-calculator. You would have had an hour for just A's. Does that make sense? So the 15 minutes you just had was 1/4 of the time to work on just A's. Okay? For B's, you would have another 45 minutes with your calculator, with like a very small break in between, if anything. It's mostly turning in the A's, flipping or like sealing that part of the answer sheet, going to the next part of the answer sheet, and starting B. Like there's barely any break there. So, but you would have had a whole hour on A's and then 45 minutes on B's. If you had even peeked at the FRQs, which I didn't want you to do, but maybe you did, those are numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They have about 3 to 4 parts each, A, B, C, D-ish. You have about 15 minutes per FRQ, but no one's micromanaging your time. That's up to you. You have half an hour with your calculator for the first 2. For this part, you would have half an hour here for 2 FRQs with your calculator. After half an hour, you'll put that calculator away. If you want to keep working on the 2, I guess you could, but now the hour has started for the other 4. So roughly, I mean, think about it this way, if you have an hour and 45 minutes for 45 multiple choice, an hour and 45 minutes for 45 multiple choice, what would that be? 145? No. 105? You get about 2.3 minutes each multiple choice. If you were to spend the same amount of time on each one, you have about 2 minutes per multiple choice. But some should go faster. Some you should just be skipping because you know you don't know it. So why waste time, right? Unless you have time at the end. For FRQs, about 15 minutes for A, B, C, D, and then for multiple choice, that was actually that was me trying to get you guys with like extra time at the end. Technically about 2 minutes is more realistic about what you get. So, here's why. Oh, go ahead. Oh, thank you. I didn't put time on it, did I? I think it was to you yesterday that I mentioned the 1.5 minutes. So if I was to put about 15 minutes each, and these ones are about 2 minutes each, if you were to spend the same amount of time. Okay. Now here's what I want to do for the last little bit of class. You have videos on topics. You have detailed explanation of why wrong ones are wrong, why right ones are right. And for right now, I think that's pretty much all for tomorrow that I should talk about besides forevers. But for what you did just now, you went and found the ones that you're like, I recognize this, let's go, and you got some wrong. So can you just start shouting out ones that you got wrong? And let's go peek at them. Because they're ones that you felt kind of good about, and something little probably was the problem. Anybody confident enough, able enough just to shout out a number? What's something you got wrong? Something, anything. You got ones wrong. Come on, I know you did. Number 5? Cool, let's look at number 5. Number 5 is a physicsy one, right? P.S. I do have a Jamboard for practice exam number 1 underneath AP review, just for when that comes due. I'll remind you later. But for number 5, it says, what is the average velocity? Average velocity could also be seen as the average rate of change, right? For which we have a forever card, if that helps. But average velocity, average rate of change is also known as, anybody have that formula off the top of their head? If not, I got you. F of B minus F of A all over, but I don't have F's, I have
B.
Ooh. I want position. I want S of B minus S of A. How do I get to S of 3 minus S of 1 all over 3 minus 1 if I have velocity? It's called the fundamental theorem of calculus, everybody. You just got to plug it into an integral. This is what's known as I get to do a rate of position. This one says I average what I already have, which is known as average value.
Wouldn't that be acceleration?
Say it one more time.
Wouldn't, like, if you did like velocity 3 minus velocity 1 over 3 minus 1, wouldn't that be acceleration?
Yes, that would be average acceleration. Solid. So in order to be able to do this, I would need to anti-derive. To anti-derive, I would have 2t minus t cubed over 3 from 1 to 3, all divided by 3 minus 1 is 2. I would plug in, and 3 times 2 is 6, minus 27 over 3 is 9, f of b minus f of a, 2 minus 1/3. Maybe you could start looking at, is this positive, is this negative, start narrowing down answer choices if you didn't have a lot of time left. If you did have time, hopefully you would just be doing this math step by step. Maybe doing something like making this 2 into 6/3 to be able to do minus 5/3, which would be plus 5, no, minus 5/3, which is minus 5/3. Otherwise known as 1/2, hopefully changing that to 9/3. Which is otherwise known as, maybe you just would have seen that it was a third, wait, strategy, ready? Did anybody see that there was going to be a stuck third?
Yes.
But once you start the math, if you see there's going to be a stuck third, wouldn't you have been between these two? And as soon as you got that it was a negative, couldn't you have just circled and not even done the rest of the math? Just strategy. Okay, someone shout out another one. What's another one you got wrong? Something that felt kind of good, and then you're like, oh, I got it wrong. 4. Extrema. Oh, that was like your forever around the room, too. Except when I gave Andy and you guys were doing your dance moves knowing it was a relative maximum, didn't I mention details like a sign chart? Didn't I mention what was going on in the sign chart? How do we make a sign chart? We have to think of what are the critical numbers. The critical numbers come from taking the derivative, right guys? Taking the derivative would be a 4x cubed plus 12x squared. Don't we want the zeros, so we do some factoring stuff, right? So I end up with -3 and 0. If time was short, I might guess that there are 2 of them, because there's 2 places it could change, or one of them thinking maybe one doesn't work. But if I have time, hopefully I'm coming back to my derivative and I'm plugging in my little baby intervals and saying, what is going on at things like, I don't know, g prime of -4, or g prime of -1, or g prime of 1. And asking myself the signs, and then you guys get to know what's going on. Now remember, they're not saying maxes or mins, they're just saying extrema. But when I plug in something like a -4 to here, that would be gross. Here, a negative squared is a positive, a -4 plus 3 is a negative. That's going to be negative. Yeah, I'm plugging it in right there because it's the easiest place to plug it in. So you need to know my tangent lines. My tangent lines tell me how the behavior is moving of the graph. -1 would be a positive, and anything squared is a positive. And +1 is a positive. So my guess of 1, because I bet they didn't have all the signs change, I mean, it happened to be right. It's not always going to be right, but it happened to be right this time. There was only 1 sign change. And not just any extrema. If you needed to, what kind of extrema is it? Where are your dance moves? It's a min. Someone throw out another one. Something else that felt good, but then ended up wrong.
And
10? 10. Oh, this is like a test question. This is like a test. Oh, actually, is this the one? It's like a test question. You gotta do U sub. Did you get the U bounds? Oh, maybe he already found his mistake, but how about everybody else? I heard a few of you like, oh, I fumbled that one. Here we go. U sub. I can't have x bounds be in a u substitution integral and have it be proper. I gotta have u bounds in a u integral. Gotta have u bounds. Actually, that's chapter 4b. You guys can look at that test. Some of you missed, I think it was on the front page at the very bottom. Was that the u sub one? Yeah, you had to do the u bounds or else you got probably half credit on it. So this one, I would have done u and du. I would have gotten dx by itself to go make that substitution, but I also would have had to think about my bounds and said, what is u of 3 and what is u of 2? Plugging 3 in with quick PEMDAS, 6 minus 1 is 5. Plugging 2 in, 4 minus 1 is 3. Now all of a sudden I know not only is it a 3 and a 5 and a g of u, which gets me down to 2 different options, but I also know it has to have a 1/2 to, how did Sarah put it, to anticipate. Although this one is anticipating like the u prime, it's not anticipating like the power rule, but it is anticipating. So you would have to go plugging in that du over 2, which gets your 1/2. That becomes your u, and my u bounds get plugged in instead. Excellent question. Benny?
Is it okay if I just think of it as, oh, I need to think of 1/2 and then eliminate A and C, and then I know the bounds have to change, right?
Perfect. Perfect. Yeah. I mean, that's probably enough. Yeah, that's usually enough. So Benny, once again, was like, he knew it was 1/2 because of the u prime, and he knew it wouldn't be the same bounds. That was enough. Where else are you guys at? Do you want to go look at anywhere else? 6? Yeah. Were you guys avoiding 6? How many people skip 6? Yeah.
oh yeah.
Right? All the words, you're like, oh. Sorry, I was trying to get a better picture. Give me 1 second. There we go. To be honest, guys, usually the tables have some of the least amount of work, but it does force you to have like a conceptual understanding that I understand. Just the reading comprehension, it might be too much. And that's a solid test taking strategy, I want you to know, skipping the ones you know you're weak on. Not forever, but for right now. Did you notice they gave you a rate? It's a tons per hour, like a miles per hour, right? They gave you a rate. Rate at which whatever recycling is being deposited, tons per hour, hours since the center opened. This is like the banana, but not quite as tricky example. Use a trapezoidal sum with three, yeah, because I have to go from here to here, and here to here, and here to here. So there's only 3 connections I can make. What is the approximate number of tons of material? So they want the number to go from rate to number, like we did with integration as net change. We got to integrate, but they're having us do it with a trapezoidal sum. So in your forever card for trapezoids, you should find, as you're studying, 1/2 base times height 1 plus height 2, which is going to end up being 1/2 times a change in x times 2 different function values. And see if that makes sense with what I'm about to write. I have 3 different ones. The area formula is the same for each. I have to look at my table. The base for the first one is 0 to 2. The base for the next one is 2 to 7. The base to the next one is 7 to 9. Then I need the height 1s plus height 2s, and I just look at each little subinterval and say, oh, it's 15 and 9. Just choose the 2. Trapezoid uses both. The next one will be 9 and 5. The next one will be 5 and 4. And the name of the game is, can you simplify? Nice thing is 1/2 and 2s, those will go away. I'm going to end up with 24. This one I'm going to have 14 divided by 2 is 7 times 5 is 35. And then 9. And you can just kind of see what's good for your mind, right? I have 30, 40, 50, 59, 68. Maybe some of you pretty quick would know those are way too high. Or maybe that math, you know that nothing has a half after a certain point. That ends at just letter A. All right, guys. We have a few seconds left, but I'm available for this kind of help. If I'm not here in my classroom after like 3:30 or 4, I'm going to be out at the softball game. Come hang out. I can talk about the softball game. We multitask. I'm here during lunch. I'm here during period 7. No meetings. I told them I wouldn't go to the meeting today. Comes a point I should probably not be any more active than I am and whatever. But come find me if you want to be working on things. Otherwise, choose what's best for your brain for tomorrow. Is that cool? Maybe it's just forever's asleep. No. Maybe it's forever's and watching a couple videos and sleep. Maybe it's just sleep. Alright. I'll see you guys later. Worst comes to worst, I'll be on the game in the softball field. If you guys are around playing games, I'll be like, so, what's the derivative of secant of x? And we'll see if you got it then.
Secant x tan.
That's the one. I'm going to stop the recorder real fast first. Feel free if you want some donuts.